I never expected an ordinary day to turn into the most terrifying experience of my life. Imagine this. It's late afternoon, the sky painted in warm shades of orange and pink, the air is calm, and I'm walking up to my own home, keys jingling in my hand. After a long day at work, all I wanted was to unlock my front door, kick off my shoes, and relax. It should have been a normal, peaceful moment, but it wasn't. As soon as I reach my front door, a voice cuts through the quiet. "You can't live here." I froze mid-step, my hand hovering over the doorknob. I looked around, confused and shocked. Who was yelling at me? And why? My first thought was that it was some prank, but the voice was stern, deliberate, and filled with authority. The sense of dread hit me instantly. Neighbors were peeking from behind their curtains and porches, whispering and pointing. The air felt heavy, like everyone was waiting to see what would happen next. Then I noticed a police car slowly rolling down the street toward me. My stomach sank. What was happening? How could this possibly be happening to me in my own home? My heart raced, palms sweating, as panic started to set in. I had lived here for years, paid my mortgage on time, maintained my house, followed all the neighborhood rules. And now, out of nowhere, I was being told I didn't belong in my own home. It was the start of a nightmare I could never have imagined. Little did I know, this terrifying moment would escalate into a full-blown conflict with my WA, legal threats, and even the police showing up at my doorstep. But at that moment, standing there frozen with my keys in hand, I felt powerless, confused, and completely trapped in a situation I never thought I'd face. The moment I realized the voice belonged to someone representing my homeowners association, my WA, was the moment reality hit me like a punch to the gut. I had always assumed my WA existed to help maintain the community, to make sure everything ran smoothly. I never imagined they could turn against me in such an aggressive, almost terrifying way. And yet, here I was, being told that I had no right to live in my own home. I tried to keep my voice calm, explaining that I was the homeowner, that I had lived here for years, that my family had built memories in this house. I even showed them my key, my mailbox, and every document proving ownership. But it was like talking to a wall. They insisted that I was in violation of their rules, and in their eyes, that somehow meant I didn't belong here. What struck me as the most absurd part was the nature of their complaints. They weren't serious violations, not really. They pointed to tiny things. My mailbox color didn't match the HOA's preferred shade, my grass was a little longer than their rulebook allowed, and my car wasn't parked exactly according to their rigid guidelines. It felt like they were nitpicking, looking for any reason to push me out. The more I tried to reason, the more they dug their heels in. They spoke as if I had committed some great offense, yet in reality, I had done nothing wrong. Their tone was cold and dismissive, making me feel like an intruder in my own home. The emotional impact was immediate. Fear, confusion, and frustration all collided inside me. At that moment, I realized this wasn't just about minor WA rules. This was about control, power, and intimidation. And little did I know, this nightmare was only just beginning. The confrontation would escalate in ways I could never have predicted. Just when I thought things couldn't get any worse, I heard the unmistakable wail of a police siren. My heart pounded in my chest as I turned to see a police car slowly pulling up in front of my home. 2 officers stepped out, their expressions serious, and my stomach sank even further. I had already been shaken by the WA confrontation, but now the authorities were involved, and I didn't even know if I was in trouble. I tried to stay calm, taking a deep breath. I approached the officers and explained everything as clearly as I could. That I was the homeowner, that I had the keys in my hand, and that this was my house. They listened patiently but with professional caution, taking notes and asking questions. It quickly became clear that the HOA had called them, trying to enforce their claim that I wasn't allowed to be there. The officers explained something crucial. The police can't legally remove someone from their own home just because a private organization says so. HOAs have rules, yes, but they don't have the power to override ownership without a court order. Essentially, unless there was a legal eviction notice or a direct threat, I had every right to be in my home. Even with this reassurance, the feeling of having law enforcement on my doorstep while being told I didn't belong was terrifying. Every second felt like an eternity. I could feel my hands shaking, my mind racing with what ifs. What if they escalated the situation? What if this misunderstanding spiraled out of control? The fear was real and immediate. That day, I learned a painful truth. Even when you're in the right, intimidation and bureaucracy can make you feel powerless. But I also learned that knowledge and calmness are your strongest allies. The police left after confirming my rights, but the ordeal was far from over. I knew I had to fight back, and I had to do it smartly. After the terrifying encounter with the HOA and the police, I realized that fear alone wasn't going to protect my home. I had to act, and fast. The first step was to gather every single piece of evidence that proved my right to live there. I collected my purchase documents, HOA payment receipts, emails, and even photos showing that my property complied with the HOA's rules. I wanted to build a clear record, because in situations like this, documentation isn't optional, it's essential. Next, I reached out to a lawyer who specialized in HOA disputes. They explained that while HOAs have some authority to enforce community rules, they do not have the legal right to evict homeowners on their own. Any attempt to remove someone must go through a court and follow proper legal channels. Hearing this gave me a sense of relief, but the emotional strain didn't go away. The thought that my home, a place full of memories, could be threatened by petty rules and overzealous neighbors was terrifying. Emotionally, it was exhausting. I couldn't sleep at night without replaying the confrontation in my head. I felt a mix of anger, frustration, and helplessness. I even started questioning how I could trust my HOA or my neighbors again. But I refused to let intimidation dictate my life. I reminded myself, knowledge is power, and preparation is strength. I also turned to the online community, sharing my story and warning others who might face similar harassment. I realized I wasn't alone. Many homeowners had been threatened by their HOAs over minor or even imaginary violations. Knowing that others had fought back and one inspired me to remain calm, focused, and persistent. This was more than a legal battle, it was a test of resilience. I wasn't just defending a house, I was defending my right to feel safe, to belong, and to stand up against injustice. And I knew, deep down, that I was ready to fight. Armed with legal advice, documentation, and a newfound determination, I returned to my home with confidence. The HOA had no authority to physically remove me, and the police had confirmed that I had every right to be there. Walking up to my front door, keys firmly in hand, I felt a mix of relief and defiance. I wasn't just reclaiming my house, I was reclaiming my peace of mind. Over the next few days, I focused on staying calm and organized. Every communication with the HOA was documented, emails, letters, even texts. I refused to let emotions take over or give them an excuse to escalate. The key was persistence and clarity. I learned that facing an HOA isn't just about legal rights, it's about strategy, patience, and showing that you won't be intimidated. Emotionally, the journey was just as significant as the legal battle. I realized that fear can be paralyzing, but courage is built one step at a time. Standing up for my rights gave me a sense of empowerment I hadn't felt before. I could finally walk through my neighborhood without the constant anxiety of, what if they show up again? I also made it a point to connect with other homeowners who had faced similar struggles. Sharing experiences, tips, and victories helped me feel less isolated. The HOA's attempts to bully me turned into a lesson. Knowledge, community, and perseverance are stronger than intimidation. In the end, I didn't just survive this ordeal, I emerged stronger, wiser, and more prepared. My message is simple. Never let fear or threats make you doubt your rights. Stay calm, stay informed, and fight for what is rightfully yours. Because at the end of the day, your home isn't just a place, it's your sanctuary, and no one has the right to take that away unjustly.